Well, howdy nerds, welcome back to some more World of Tanks Blitz content, and as you can see today we're going to take a look at VK72.1. Okay, in being completely honest, I think the tank is incredibly shit. Like, I knew about this from the start when the thing was like lived on public server. I looked up its stats and the tank was incredibly shit. So I asked my clanmates who already have the tank, and they said like it is okay-ish. So I decided to grind the tank, and here we are. I also looked up tanks. I also looked up how to play the VK72, and the fatness video come up. There's a like 30-minute long video, and there is one stream, 2-hour long stream where he plays VK72 and calls it like a hidden gem, saying as if the tank is good and stuff and you should frontline in it. I will get back into it, why you should not be doing it, but before we really start, I want to mention this, that I'm not trying to attack fatness in any way. I really think fatness is incredibly good, an awesome person, but the thing is, his advice for VK72 is incredibly bad. Let's start why. Starting with the hit points, 2600. Kinda nice third highest, but it doesn't really matter when you have next to no armor. Like, when looking at the gun, damage per minute 2465. It's the second lowest. Penetration is mediocre, like 9th place, 8th place. I would say that you run calibrated shells so you don't waste a lot of time trying to aim at weak spots, as gun is not accurate, so having the most amount of penetration to deal with least amount of armor is always better in this situation. But if you're going to run calibrated shell, then your reload is very long, 16.75 seconds, where with rammer it would be 15.6 seconds. But I would still recommend running the calibrated shells. The shell velocity is incredibly bad, reload is incredibly bad, like said. The base aim time is one of the worst, 2.5 second. Dispersion is also one of the worst, 0.36, which is pretty bad. The gun handling is also one of the worst, like 18th position. out of 21 heavies. That is so bad. Your gun depression is decent, 7 degrees of gun depression. There are quite a few spots where you can use it, but 10 degrees would have been better. But again, the tank is rear mounted, you can't really have 10 degrees of gun depression, otherwise the gun would be going through the armor profile. As it's a super heavy, your speed is incredibly bad, 30 kilometers per hour, and not to mention your abysmal power to weight ratio of 10 horsepower per ton. One of the worst. You can't get into position in this tank, and you don't have armor. Like, what is the point of the tank? You don't have gun, you don't have armor, you don't have mobility. And it is supposed to be a super heavy that's supposed to be frontlining, bouncing shells and stuff. Let's look up the armor, why I'm saying it does not have armor. The thing is, as the tank is rear mounted, the first thing you're going to think of, it's kinda like mouse, so I should like side scrape and stuff. But if you're going to side scrape, this entire massive tumor that it has, this rear segment bubble shape, the thing is, this is 230 millimeters thick for heat rounds. For AP rounds, after 5 degrees of normalization, as we are at 46 degrees right now, I'm going to normalize it a bit. 211 millimeters against AP rounds. That is incredibly bad. Everything can penetrate you. Even the worst penetrating medium tank at tier 10 is Object 140, and it has 100% chance of penetration against a super heavy, which is supposed to have the best armor profile while looking straight at it. We are talking about the turret, not the hull at the moment. The turret is super easy to penetrate. The hull is even weaker at 205. We're not even going to look at normalization. And as the tank is super slow, your 10 horsepower per ton power to weight ratio, you're going to take quite a while to set up the side scraping and line up your shot while backing off. The enemy would have already shot your cheeks and got back into position while you would be reversing slowly. And if the enemy really wants to maximize their chance of penetration, they can straight up load gold and penetrate this entire region without care in the world. So this quote-unquote super heavy isn't capable of side scraping. Okay, fine. The front plate on the hull looks incredibly thick, 240 millimeters, and the upper front plate is 400 millimeters thick. But the thing is, who in their right mind is going to shoot at the upper front plate where it can easily penetrate the lower plate? Like, look at this lower plate, 320 millimeters thick in this angle. Like, if you're going to poke like this, I can't take out the tracks. Yeah, this 310 to 326 millimeters armor is not going to stop anything. As soon as you load gold, this thing is 100% chance of penetration for pretty much everything except for the Object 140 and the Batchet 25 TAP, the tier 9 shit light tank. Like, there's no point of having armor if the only thing it can stop is city penetrating tanks like Object 140 and tier 9 Batchet. And again, as the tank is rear mounted, the first thing you're going to expose is your front if you're going to poke with front, like the Fatness does in his videos. As enemy can easily load gold and penetrate to get back into position. As the tank is not fast, it will take quite a while for you to get out of the wall and have your gun exposed to shoot the target. There's yet again another weak spot on this tank on the front, and that is the cupola. As you can see over here, the cupola is 80 millimeters thick, so any player who knows about this weak spot is going to exploit you with their big caliber guns. Hesh firing guns in particular would absolutely obliterate your armor profile. Like, this is supposedly super heavy that can be penetrated with HE on big guns. It makes no sense. So what we have deduced so far, this super heavy is incapable of front lining in flat city terrains. Okay, it can't side scrape, it can't poke with front. Okay, there is like hull down thing it can do. It has 7 degrees of gun depression. Okay, let's put into 7 degrees of gun depression. I placed the gun completely down, and now the gun is looking at me with its max gun depression it's using. As you can see, the cheeks are still penetrable, 242 millimeters thick at 49 degrees. AP round have 5 degrees of normalization, mind you, and as soon as you put in that 5 degrees of normalization, that's 47 degrees, that's 46 degrees, that's still 46 degrees, 45 degrees, 226 millimeters required for the AP round to penetrate this cheek. Object 140 has 100% chance of penetrating this supposed super heavy when it's hull down. Oh boy. Like, hull down is the best thing. You're always poking when you can shoot the enemy. You can get lucky and bounce, but if the point of tank is to get lucky and bouncing, then you can may as well play Guerrilla 15 front lining and get lucky every time. So what we have deduced so far, the VK72 is incapable of front lining. You have to play it second line or third line, as you may have noticed every time Fatness says that he's going to front line his VK72, he just happens to get into second line, third line position unknowingly, as if his body knows that this tank is shit, it can't do it, and he's putting himself into those positions where it can work. But if you have a super heavy that relies to be in second to third line position where it is not the first tank being shot at, then you can may as well play a tank destroyer at this point, as tank destroyers have much better rate of fire. T11OE4 and T11OE3 in particular are a much better option for you. Yeah, you don't have hit points, but it doesn't matter that you have 2600 hit points if you're so easy to be penetrated. Now that I'm done with the stats and showing how shit the VK72 actually is, we can now look up on my replay, which I've started right now. Okay, then loading into the battle after random voice crack and suspicious cut. Here we are in the battle. I'm pausing the replay and let's take a look. We have hull down tanks and a bunch of mediums in this map. So of course the best course of action would be not to go towards the Yamato, where you require tanks that are capable of side scraping. It should be better to go towards the medium side with a bunch of hull down positions. So that is what I say to my teammates, that we go towards right as soon as we load in. There you go. And 60TP agrees with me, but the Crown Wagon is going towards the Yamato for some reason. Like, the most capable hull down tank is not going towards the hull down tank. Okay. Like, we're not here to really stat shame players. It's more about VK72 being a shit than the players being shit. So here we are. I would really love to go towards that D62 over there, as there's very good spots and I can easily use my 7 degrees of gun depression. But as our mediums are kind of being shit, they're not spotting really. T92 is trying to spot tanks through bushes while sitting in open, which makes no sense. Object 84 is sitting at the back like a tank destroyer, and then there is the bad shit, so the mediums definitely didn't come here. I'm going to load my HE, and you can see I'm running the fatness recommended consumables. I don't like the consumables, we'll talk about that a bit later. There I got a bit unlucky, we can see, against the bad chat. And here's the TVP. Don't know as well. I'm going to aim at its side so I can shoot, and it fails to penetrate. Amazing. Now that you can see that bad chat is going to shoot my tumor and penetrate me both of the times. I'm going to aim at the side of this guy again with HE. Hopefully RNG is not going to be the little bitch that it was. Oh nice, 980, with a bit of fire and a lot of modules, internal modules damage. And now I really would like to fight those bots in cap. They could be better if they're hull down tanks like that 60 TP was in the cap. That would be incredibly hard to decap, but he's trying to flank. There I got a bit lucky with Yag. Going to aim at the side of 60 TP. I'm going to load gold so it's not 70 degrees auto ricochet angle, but I hit the tracks anyway, so it didn't matter. Bounce was a bounce, but just that was very expensive bounce for me, as I'm a free-to-play player. So I'm going to go here. I can't really move as this tank is very shit in terms of mobility, so I'm kind of forced to play here and watch if the 60 TP is going to pull some dumb crap move like he did, like by flanking, and if he's going to push further. There's Foch at the back. I'm just looking around. I can't really do anything because the tank isn't capable of doing anything. And here we're going to see the example of why playing on PC isn't that good. Like on mobile, you have this outline, rectangular outline when you use your aim assist, and it gives you a rough idea where the tank is. You don't have that on PC. I'll wait for that. Going to smack that VK. Don't get the ammo rack. Notice the 60 TP is coming towards me. And this time again, I'm going to back off. I'm going to line up my shot. Yeah, and like I was saying, there was the disadvantage of PC. You can't get the rough estimation. There you go, we're taking shot with 60 TP. So far, I have only bounced because the enemies let me bounce. Otherwise, they would have easily penetrated me. Like this yak could just smack him, and there I got very lucky. He could have easily shot my tracks, killed me. He could have easily shot with HE and my lower plate, killed me. He could have easily shot HE and probably got lucky with engine fire and could have killed me. But none of that happened. There's the sound of 4. I shoot him and the shitty gun handling hits the wall. Like the replay was a bit laggy, you may not have seen that. And VK could have easily obliterated me, but he decided to turn around and shoot the light tank for some reason. Like, yeah, why take out low HP tanks when you can try to shoot a light tank? And he does that. Again, example of shitty gun handling. He completely misses. Now the VK-45 2OB is aiming at me. I noticed that. I turn to hide my cheeks a bit, and he hits the dirt. I got lucky over there again. Take him out. I can't really push since the object is going to show me his rear, so I hit HE to smack him. Now I'm just waiting for that long ass reload as the gun is shit. Got nice fire, but the base damage wasn't that good. Like below average, so I didn't quite manage to kill him. I could have waited here to shoot the Yag, but I decided to like hell with this Foch. He didn't require help because he can easily penetrate the shitty armor profile of this Wiki tank. And he kills the Yag, and now I only have a chance to do a bit more damage against the object. Well, I'm not really going to hit it, spoilers alert, but as you can see we have done 6,000 damage, 1,700 block damage, and most of that was just getting lucky. If the point of just getting lucky in super heavy is of this tank is, then may as well play Guerrilla 15, get hit on the gun or tracks and bounce like that. You would still achieve similar kind of thing if you get lucky. And the tank would be much better as the Guerrilla 15 has 10-second reload, whereas this piece of shit has 16 seconds reload. We got ace there. This tank is super easy to ace as most players don't know what they're doing. The tank is shit. We got that lovely new economic system, 187,000 credits, and we were like top tier. Few comments on the new GUI. The last time we saw replay was in IS8 and we had the old GUI. I am not a fan of this new GUI at all. Like, it looks nice, but I don't like the elements of the TikTok they're using. The automatic scroll feature and the unnecessary unnecessary data division they have done. Like, the front screen could easily have how much credits I have earned, how much XP I got. The second screen that they're showing, this could have been easily added into the front screen, and the second screen could have been used to show the team, what the team did. So what they have done, basically, they took the old school GUI, divided the first screen that showed how much you did, what you got, how much credits. They divided in two screens for no reason. Like, the animation is nice and all, but you can have the same animation and then you have the team performance screen. They have also like removed the, we had 4 buttons here before. They have removed the player performance here, like who you shot, efficiency and statistics screen they have removed, and they removed it into this bottom screen, so you're required to be in like second. You can watch the screen from the first, second or third screens. And they have also removed this replay button that was on the first screen before. All honestly, the new GUI looks nice, but it's not comfortable to use. It's utterly garbage. Like, why would you do this in any right mind? Back to talking shit about the, no, not talking about shit about the wiki, let's talk about shit about teammates. The T62A, the guy who was holding the hull on side on medium, did 300 damage. He like shot once and gave up on life. Like I wasn't paying attention what he did. He could have went AFK. He could have got unlucky, got armor act or something. And the object 84, the guy camping in the better cancerous light tanks. Shitty player, 60 TP. I think he like rushed or something. He did like he went towards the perfect side where he could easily use his hull down tank, but he only did 600 damage. Like he shot once. He could have also got unlucky armor act. Cranwagon, the moron who went all by himself towards the side scraping position in his hull down tank. Like that makes sense. Go towards the side scraping position, your hull down tank. It's not like the hull down tank's point is to hide the hull and shoot with the turret. T92 did fairly okay, even though his early spotting position was incredibly shit. He could have got very unlucky if the enemy Jagdpanzer E100 Object 704 or someone was hiding in a TD camping bush. The first did an amazing job, 4000 damage, 4 kills, and then the bot in WK72 somehow managed to do 6000 damage in the most cancerous tank. Not cancerous tank, in the most shittiest tank. And if you're going to say that you don't know how to play WK72, its armor is strong and good, like rewind back to the start of the video and look up what I just talked about, statistics of the tank itself. And in statistics of mine, I have like 70 to 73% win rate with 3k average in this tank, like 130 battles. I clearly know how to play this tank, and that is to play it like a tank destroyer and not frontlining heavy, because it's not capable of being a frontlining heavy. You're going to easily lose 2600 damage. But when I say play it like tank destroyer, it does not mean to camp at the back and wait for the enemies to come towards you. No, what I mean by that is to play at second line as if you're playing an E4 or Jagdpanzer E100. But at that point, it's much better to play E4 or Jagdpanzer E100 than the WK72, as WK72 is completely incapable tank. A lot of shit I have talked about this wiki, but let's see what gaming could have done to like improve the tank instead of the way they decide to improve it by adding shitty consumables and provisions, like the sandbag provision, which give you more hit points. Literally means jack shit if your tank is super easy to penetrate. And then they gave it tungsten shell, again a shitty consumable. Like there's no point of doing 5 to 25% more damage when it's not permanent thing. Like really, like if it would have been permanent thing, then it would have been better if it brought some kind of negative aspects to it, like nerf the accuracy, but you get better damage. Like VK72 at best is going to do 800 damage. It's going to do damage between 680 to 800 damage. So let's take the best case scenario. The best case scenario is that you become a Jagdpanzer E100 without the penetration of Jagdpanzer E100 or the accuracy of Jagdpanzer E100. Like, what's the point? The gun is shit. Like, you saw how I missed the bat shot. You saw how I missed the 704. And if you're going to say, oh, you just got unlucky, like, you have not seen other replays where I'm playing this exact same tank and the shell is just not landing anywhere. Like, again, I'm not going to say that the Fatness is a bad player. He's an incredibly good player, but in his replay and stream, he just got incredibly lucky where he just turning around his tank and snapshotting, and the guy just get hit, penetrated super easy. I got off the tangent. I was about to talk how to improve the tank. Yeah, to improve the tank, you should not be introducing shitty provisions and consumable that last for a little while and have next to no effects. What they could have done, there are two ways to improve this tank. The first, let's talk about the most expensive way. The most expensive way would be to remodel the tank so that the tumor isn't there. Like, to smooth the tank out. Like they have something similar with VK90, where the front of the hull and the rear of the hull have the smooth sides. Thanks to this simple, like for people who don't know how much effort it takes, this to remodel the tank, this simple way of balancing would introduce this tank like a decent side scraper. You still have the weak spot of turret being weak, but you can now at least side scrape and position your tank and snipe and shoot back. The entire hull is not a shitty tumor. You can angle up your hull now and be bouncy. That is the expensive way of improve the tank. The cheapest way would be to improve the characteristics of other aspects of the tank if you don't want to improve the armor profile. The simplest of which is, of course, improve the gun. The gun is incredibly shit. The 16.7 second it has with calibrated, let's take the armor one, the 15.6 second reload that it has, it should be about 13 second reload, or maybe 12 second reload. The damage per minute would be nice on the tank, and it would be fine for the gun being shit and all, and the power to weight ratio being shit. At least you got a gun that works. You don't have armor profile really, but you got a gun that works. And on top of that, this is still the second way of improving it. On top of that, they could like increase the power to weight ratio. So it's not this 10 horsepower per ton, but something like 15 or 18 horsepower per ton. So the tank is a bit more snappy. This would improve its chance of not getting penetrated on weak spot, as your tank is very capable of rocking and getting out of position now. And this will also allow you to attain the 30 km/h top speed and get into positions early. That is the two-way I see fixing this tank, other than like deleting it and replacing it with VK90, but that's not going to happen. VK90 is the cancerous super heavy that Wargaming like gives out as grades. So brain dead player who think 2% chance of getting the tank is incredibly nice would spend their money at. Like, enough talking crap. I think I'm not going to add more replays to it, as the video would be pretty long to edit now. But thanks for watching. Come again next time, and bye, I guess.